Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. It seems like what's going on with the migrants in Chicago and New York is beginning to backfire on the powers that be. And if I had said that it bothered me, I'd be lying. I'm actually glad that it is. But before I continue, I just want to say thank you to all my subscribers on YouTube and on Rumble, all my new subscribers also. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe, and join the channel and help keep it growing. Trying to reach 500. My first milestone, 500, will be great. Also, if you want to help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and PayPal. So with that being said, the clip that I'm going to show you came out a day ago, okay, and it seems like all the money that has been spent, the millions and millions of dollars that have been spent, okay, I should say the tens of millions of dollars. Now the migrants don't want to be staying in the shelters, okay, or the tent cities that incompetent Mayor Adams wind up, justifying. So it seems that now, as of an hour ago, Chicago's following suit. Okay, the migrants in Chicago are starting to talk, and some of them are saying they want to go back home. They'd rather go back home. Okay, now I say that this is backfiring on Biden because it is. He wanted an open border. He wanted something that was unsustainable. And now it's overflowing in the cities, the sanctuary cities. And now these migrants are like, well, wait a minute. I didn't come here for this. I came for a better life. So I'm going to show you this first clip. And here are a couple of things that some people are saying in New York. Here we go.
The opening of the new migrant shelter at Floyd Bennett Field in Brooklyn did not go as smoothly as some officials had hoped.
Several migrant families that were bused to the facility refused to stay there. They got right back on the bus. Briella Tomasetti at Floyd Bennett Field. What's going on? How is this possible?
Yeah, it is possible, Rosanna and Dan. Clearly, the situation is not ideal here. It's a transit desert. It is far from everything. It's not close to where parents have to take their kids to school. The bathrooms, the showers are outside. A long list of concerns. I could go on and on. But 23 families with children were expected to arrive here yesterday. Not all of them obviously stayed. A spokesperson for the mayor's office telling the New York Post that while some migrants did reject the site, another busload of asylum seekers arrived at around 2:30 yesterday afternoon, and they did opt to stay.
See, now here's the thing with this. What did they expect was going to happen? You go and you open up a piece of land that you need transportation to get there no matter what. And this is not just regular transportation. I mean, it's not like there's 24-hour bus services going out there. Okay, so you either have a car or you take whatever transportation to a certain point and then you get there the rest of the way. Everything that Mayor Adams and the mayor of Chicago are doing is just so ass backwards, but this has nothing to do with truly opening up the doors to give people a better life. This has to do with money, power, votes, and control. And being that it's been all corrupt from the beginning, I truly hope that a lot more immigrants do go back. And I don't mean, I'm not saying I hope that they find it so hard, like as of anything to hurt them physically or anything like that. But the fact that they can see that, we were lied to. There's no pot of gold at the end of this rainbow. And what's really upsetting is all the money that has been spent by the Biden regime and every Democrat lawmaker out there, taxpayer money, and is going totally to waste. But let's continue.
Less than an hour after the first batch of migrants arrived at Brooklyn's Floyd Bennett Field, families boarded the bus that took them there and went back to the Roosevelt Hotel Intake Center.
Of course
City
they would.
Council member Joanne Ariola, who represents neighborhoods in Queens, posted on the social media platform X that migrants refused to stay for various reasons, such as location, conditions, and the proximity of the schools where their children are registered.
Okay, now that right there I have a problem with. You know, these are people that are coming off the bus. Their children have already been registered in school. Everything has been so fast-tracked, okay? And now, to make matters worse, so you have them, or you have their children already registered at a certain school district. And believe me, I'm not pro illegal immigration, but look at how they did this. That now you want to up them up, send them to another location. Now, how do their kids get to school? This whole situation has been nothing but wrong since the beginning. Okay? And I blame people like you just seen, the people by the buses, they're waiting, you know, as if they're waiting for tourists. This woman right here, all these advocates for illegal immigration, I blame all of them. The governor, the mayor, the president, every single person that's involved, any church group, any single person that is involved, okay, that have made it possible for all these illegals to come here. And now that things are hard for them, all this money has been spent. So you know what that means? More money, more taxpayer money is going to be spent. But let's continue.
Assembly member Jamie Williams was on site and echoed those concerns.
It's a very isolated area. When Disney came in, you have to come all around. So it's not a place where you put women and children, and then the facilities is just not, you know, friendly, especially in the middle of the night if a child or an adult have to get up to go outside of the tent to use that bathroom.
Floyd Bennett Field was first proposed as a shelter site months ago. The former airfield space is owned by the federal government, but Governor Hochul is footing the $20 million bill.
Oh, that's
The
great.
makeshift shelter has enough room to house
Governor Hochul footing the $20 million bill. You know, this woman is so damn corrupt. You know, this woman pushed the issue for people to get vaccinated, okay? Her and the mayor, de Blasio and them, they made it so hard for Americans to go about their everyday lives. But now they're going to go and start flipping millions, like I said, tens of millions of dollars for illegals. And then look what happens. They turn around and say, I'm not staying here. So now they feel like they have options. It's like, you know what? No, I don't like the conditions. Well, guess what? 90% of Americans in America that are having a hard time don't like the conditions that they're living in. So who are you to come here? Okay? And I could understand a safety concern. I could understand that. But whose choice was it to come here? Whose choice was it to come here illegally? But let's continue.
2,000 people, but the proposal was immediately met with intense pushback due to its inconvenient location, lack of mass transit, susceptibility to flooding, and more.
And protests.
Toured the site last month. There are 4 dormitories, a tent for registration and for people to connect with caseworkers. Another tent will be used as a cafeteria, but communal bathrooms and showers are set up outside.
This is not, you know, best conditions, but we're managing crises, and you cannot say any better that we need help.
Meanwhile,
You know, this man is such a damn clown. He's a disgrace. He needs to step down. You know, I tell you that the Democrats, they eat themselves. They eat each other up. Okay? He has kissed Biden's ass so much, and he wanted this corruption, and he also wanted, and he to have, I believe it was 80,000 or 800,000. It was a very high number of illegals to be able to vote in New York. Okay? Now that he's under the radar, because him, the governor of Colorado, and the mayor of Chicago was supposed to go see Biden. Okay, now all of a sudden he's caught up in some campaign scandal. Now look at the mug on this poor dog's face. Now he's going to say it's not the best living conditions? Did it ever occur to you that maybe, just maybe, you should have opened up your mouth and told Biden, you know what, maybe we should shut the damn border before all this got out of control? But you know what? I'm glad this is happening to them. I truly am. Not that I want anything to happen to anybody physically, anything like that, to the migrants or anything, because we already know what's happening at the border. But I'm glad that all this is backfiring on all of them, because it was corrupt from the beginning. It should have never happened. But let's continue.
Mayor Adams toured the site last night, doubling down on his calls for more federal assistance. The mayor's office sent out a statement saying, in part, with more than 65,600 migrants currently in our care and thousands more continuing to arrive every week, we have used every possible corner of New York City and are quite simply out of good options to shelter migrants. No municipality.
You never had a good option from the beginning. This is what kills me about these mayors. The good option from the beginning would have been to go to your boss, Joe Biden, and say, shut the border down, we have a problem. But no. You know, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands coming in. When did they think that at any given time they were going to be able to withstand all these migrants? And this is just in 2 cities, Chicago and New York. They haven't spoken anything about Colorado yet. I mean, there's been a lot of blowback, but of course California's not going to say anything. I mean, they don't care. California should just be another country, in my opinion. They just need to build a border there and say, you know what, have your own president and you guys do whatever the hell you guys want to do. But let's continue.
Municipality should be left to manage a national crisis almost entirely on its own. It's not fair to New Yorkers, and it's not fair to asylum seekers. The city has said...
Okay, they need to stop the bullshit with the asylum seekers. They're not seeking asylum. Okay? Every single one that has been coming through, all you hear them say is that they're coming here for work. Every time there's a news reporter asking, we're coming here for work, for a better life. I have not heard not one illegal migrant interviewing saying that they're running from the drug cartels, they're running from a communist government, they're running from persecution, they're running because they're being hunted down by politicians. I have not heard not one illegal say that. It's always been the same thing. We're coming here for work. Okay, that is not one of the criteria to seek asylum. Okay, so this is by Fox 5. Okay, I'm putting you guys on blast also. Stop saying asylum seekers, because you know for a damn fact that's not what they're coming here for. But let's continue.
Set up more than 200 emergency shelters since the crisis began, and 2 large-scale relief centers, one outside the Creedmoor Psychiatric Center in Queens and another on Randall's Island.
Big problem is this situation that New York City is in. And so again, a site like this is needed because we don't have anywhere else. If we have some other places, I'd love for people to let us know where they are.
Okay, why don't you take them home with you? Okay, all these people think that they're doing the right thing by helping all these illegals come in. Okay, we're doing the right thing, really? Are you letting them in your house? Huh? Do you even care of the tens of millions, hundreds of millions, tens of billions of dollars that are being spent while taxpayers and Americans are suffering? I tell you, all these people, I mean, their morals and their scruples, okay, excuse my language, are so far up their ass. Because even in the face of this thing falling apart, they want to make it seem like, you know what, we can still do more. But let's continue.
The Legal Aid Society toured this site a few weeks ago and wrote a long list of concerns to the city about why it is not suitable for families with children. Representatives were back here again yesterday. They are doubling down on their calls for the city to pull out of this plan, but the question remains, with people already moving in, is that even possible at this point? For now, we're live at Floyd Bennett.
Okay, and of course it's not possible. I mean, it was never meant to be. It was unsustainable from the beginning. But you see, they thought that they were going to flood Texas and Florida and Arizona and all these red states. See, that was their idea. But when those governors and mayors came out and said, no, that's not going to happen, now they're feeling the crunch. And just so you know, it's not in New York. It's also in Chicago. Let's take a look.
Cities now unable to keep up. In Chicago, for example, a group of people who came out of Venezuela, all the way from Venezuela, with hopes of a better life. They've been living on the streets. They say, we're going back home. One of them declaring the American dream doesn't exist.
Really? The American dream doesn't exist? Huh. Well, ain't that a kick? You know, it really pisses me off. The past week, I mean, there has been so much protest in Chicago. Okay. I mean, and they're protesting that they're going to flip Chicago red. These are Democratic voters saying that they will flip it red if the mayor doesn't put a stop to what's going on. The mayor's complacent. He's acting like, you know what, I don't hear a damn word you're saying. Okay. And now these migrants are saying they want to go back home. The mayor and the governor of Chicago have the power to say, you know what, no more. Stop it at the border. But they won't. Who do you think is going to pay for these, to get these people back home? Oh yeah, that's right. More taxpayer money. More taxpayer money. But let's continue.
Chicago Alderman Raymond Lopez with me now. Sir, how you doing? Good morning. I saw this story. I said, this is wacky. How many people are we talking about?
Chicago has seen 20,000 migrants appear on our streets since August of last year. We've got...
Right there, he's lying. He's lying. Okay? Because the word on the street is that it's over 163,000. But it doesn't surprise me. All these Democratic aldermen, the way they're going to fudge the numbers. But let's continue.
Nearly 3,000 living in police stations, 800 living at O'Hare Airport, and thousands more just floating around in between shelter to shelter. And I'm sorry that they don't like our weather. I'm sorry that they feel that we're not doing enough to give them jobs, housing, vehicles, cars, food, shelter, clothing, and everything else that they were promised by social media. But the system works if you do it the right way, and declaring asylum because you need a job isn't the right way, and they're learning that reality the hard way now.
Well, the truth is...
And there you go. But instead of you getting with the president and saying, listen, man, come on, man, listen, man, stop the bleeding at the border. Okay? No, you're just going to let them in, and now you're going to complain? I mean, not for nothing, you know, if you have homeless people in your city, okay, and you estimate that there's about 5,000 homeless people in the city that you cannot provide for, how in the world do you provide for 5,000 extra people that are homeless? Now you times that by 10, by 20, by 30, by 40. You're talking about tens of thousands of people coming. What did you think was going to happen? Well, let's continue.
Our law does not offer asylum if the question is economic. You know, the question, are you under hardship? Are you being persecuted? Are you being religiously persecuted? I don't know how many coming across the border can check all those boxes. Anyway, number of migrants bused to Chicago out of Texas alone, per Governor Greg Abbott as of
November 11th, 18,400. Way to go,
Here's the money
Governor Abbott.
Illinois has spent on
That's how you do
humanitarian aid
it.
for migrants. You're over $330 million, which, by the way,
Look at that. Over $330 million in humanitarian aid. Okay. Do you know what Chicago could have did with that money? Do you know how many police officers they could have hired? How many neighborhoods they could have cleaned up? How many schools they could have donated to? How many homeless people and veterans they could have helped out? How many people with cancer they could have gave money to get better treatment and all that? But no, you gave it to people who came in illegally, and now they're complaining? Let's continue.
is cheap compared to New York. I'm going to read you a quote from one of the Venezuelans saying, "How many more months of living in the streets will it take? No more. It's better that I leave."
Then leave. Bye-bye.
I'm sorry that they feel that way, but Chicago taxpayers shouldn't be on the hook for paying these bills. And that $330 million bill, that's just what the state of Illinois is paying. The city of Chicago is committed to paying $255 million this year alone, on top of all the other amenities that all the other layers of government are providing, including our schools. It's simply not sustainable. And the fact of the matter is this: the federal government has failed in this moment to not only secure the border, to address the asylum seekers, and to provide for their well-being, since they're putting cases
You're
6 years away.
Right. That is the point. You shouldn't have to apologize if people aren't happy with the treatment they're getting in Chicago. They made a decision to leave their homes.
Exactly. That's what I just said. Nobody asked them to come here. They got up and left. Okay? Americans do it every day. When they want to start a new life, they'll take what they have left, they'll get up, and they'll go to another state, and they'll just start from the ground up. But these people were promised something that Americans are not even promised. They were promised so many things that a regular tax-paying American cannot get a free damn iPhone, and they're giving iPhones and smartphones to these illegals for free. We can't even get a damn iPhone for free without signing into a contract for like $1,000 for the damn phone. And they're going to complain. Let me tell you something. Born and raised in the Bronx, I grew up a lot of immigrants that came here, and I mean years ago, they did it the right way. They came with nothing. With nothing. And they scraped and scraped and scraped and worked and worked and worked until they achieved the American dream. Now you have these migrants who think they're entitled to just come here and say, you know what, you need to give me an apartment, you need to give me money, you need to give me a truck, you need to give me this, you need to give me that. We don't got to give you a damn thing. Especially if you're not going to pledge your allegiance to this country. You come here waving your flag from your country, the way they did at the border when they planted their damn flag, the Border Patrol had to run over and rip that flag down. You don't come to this country and plant your damn flag. You stay in your freaking country and plant your damn flag. But let's continue.
Fortunately, they're still not happy. In the meantime, the people who live in your state are paying millions, if not billions of dollars eventually. You don't need to apologize.
No, I think you're absolutely correct, Bill. I think it's in my nature, just as a good Christian, to try to help people. But at the end of the day, I'm not responsible for this failure. We've seen our president and our vice president come to our city numerous times. They're hosting the Democratic National Convention here in several months, and yet they still allow us to be the guinea pig for this failed policy of allowing individuals to come here for asylum with no support, to allow sanctuary cities to be the magnet that sends them here, not only from people like Abbott, but from Democratic states as well, who have all jettisoned their sanctuary city policies while we hold steadfast to ours.
Well, you guys stuck by it. And the thing about it is, this is not about being Christian or non-Christian. Okay? This is a humanitarian thing. Something that anybody with common sense could say, you know what? Hold on one second. We've been having a system, okay, since the founding of this country. This is how we're going to do things to let people in, because there's an influx of people coming in and people passing away and people leaving. So how do you do it now? You're supposed to stop it at the border the way every other country does it. For him to come out and say, well, you know what, Abbott and now some Democratic cities are doing it. Well, you know what? It's because Abbott and DeSantis and the rest of them, they had it right. They said, we didn't ask for this. Had both sides gotten together from the beginning, all the governors and mayors from both parties, and say, you know what, wait a minute, how many people are we letting in just like this? We have people waiting for years trying to get legalized. Why? Oh, why? Since day one did you get rid of all of Donald Trump's laws at the border? So people got smart like Abbott and said, you know what? We don't want them here. We'll send them to the two places that advocated for this, that kept saying we are a sanctuary city, which is Chicago and New York. You can't have it both ways. Okay? You can't wait till the shit hits the fan, per se, before you change your vote. So all these mayors and governors from these Democratic cities that are now starting to do this is because they know they want to get voted back in. That's why they're doing it. They're getting a lot of blowback and they want to get voted back in, and they're like, you know what, I'm gonna let this fire die down a little bit before I fan it back up again after the election, the next election. I'll give my constituents what they want. In my opinion, Chicago should flip red. We don't need Chicago and New York to flip red. We need either New York or Chicago to flip red. And you won't have this problem. You know why? Because the Democrats will not be able to hold power in the White House for a very long time. If one of those cities flips red, one of those states, I should say, okay, they flip entirely red, Democrats can say bye-bye. I mean, they'll still have their governors, their mayors, their aldermen, or whatever you want to call it, you know. But I mean, what's happening at the border, it would just come to a stop. It'll go back to normal. But let's continue.
Our voters have said they want enough, have had enough, and they want to vote on that topic in the city, and hopefully we can give them that chance.
I just want to read this. Governor Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, his letter to President Biden in October. The humanitarian crisis is overwhelming our ability to provide aid to the refugee population. Unfortunately, the welcome and aid Illinois has been providing to these asylum seekers has not been matched with support by the federal government.
Well, listen, you fat ass. Excuse my language, people. Not trying to insult anybody who's, a little overweight. But it's like, didn't he sit there? Because I remember watching him sit there with all his pens lined out and just signing, just law after law, sanctuary city, and we're going to give rights, take rights away from the parents and give it to the teachers, and we're going to take the rights away from the taxpayers and give it to the illegal immigrants, and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. You really thought that it was up to the federal government to help you with that? And I love the way he says here, Illinois has been providing to these asylum seekers has not been matched with support by the federal government. Okay, so now you're taking tens of millions of dollars from your taxpayers in Chicago who don't want this, in Illinois who don't want this, okay, in the state of Illinois, But then you expect the president to take money from the taxpayers from all the other states to match you on it? Oh boy. I tell you, the ghost of Al Capone, it runs really thick in Chicago. But let's continue.
So he's asking for more money. Just last comment, then we got to roll.
You know, the sad part is, I think many in my party are viewing the migrant crisis as their next COVID-2 money grab. You know, we've seen a lot of money come to Democratic cities to help cover the costs of COVID, and now the big $5 billion ask is now we need more money to help cover the migrant crisis. Crisis to crisis.
Yeah, of course.
The federal government they keep asking for more money to help cover our costs. It's simply not sustainable.
Raymond Lopez, thanks for coming on.
Okay, well, here's a thought. Okay. Vote against both. Okay. You don't need billions of dollars to fight COVID. And you don't need billions of dollars to fight the illegal immigration. You shut the border and you give people the option to do what they want instead of trying to push something on them. See how that works? Plain and simple. And no offense to Al Capone's ghost with the little joke that I made, but it just seems like the corruption in Chicago just doesn't stop. Okay? You didn't listen to your voters. Had they listened to the voters, Chicago would have been red a long time ago. This is nothing new. What's new now is with the massive influx in Chicago and New York with the illegals. But this has been a problem for years. This has been a problem since Obama was president. But people, you know, they keep voting these Democrats in. And no offense towards the Republican voters that are voting Republican. But I mean, look at all the voting fraud that is now coming to light. I just feel that Republicans have not pushed back hard enough to find proof of who really should be in power. But I guess that's a whole other topic because there's a lot coming out now. And it's coming out from the mainstream media. But you know what, Chicago, you should flip red. You want to save your state. You want to save your city. You want to save the children, you know, from being victims of crime. You want to end the drugs. You want to end the prostitution that's going on in the street. You know, the gangs taking over. Vote red, man. It hasn't worked since Obama was president. Even when Trump became president, he wanted to help Chicago, and your Democratic mayor and governor shot him down and said, we don't need your help. And nothing has changed. It's gotten worse. Same goes in New York. Which really breaks my heart because I'm born and raised in the Bronx. And we've never seen it like this, ever. You got protests of people wanting to protest, you know, in favor of Palestine, okay, desecrating the American flag. You want to go fight for your people in Palestine? I get it, but then go on top of illegals that say I'm not living there. That's not suitable for me. On top of the crime, and the cops have their hands tied behind their back because of the officials that they have in control. Same thing is happening in Chicago, in all the big cities. It's just a damn shame that now blue cities, okay, are dumping more of their trash. And when I mean trash, I'm not saying that the people are trash. I'm just saying all the mess that they created, they want to dump it on Chicago and New York. Just because, like I said, they're trying to cover their ass. They want to be voted back in. These Democrats, they eat themselves. They eat themselves. But anyway, that's what I got for you. Hope you like it. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe. Trying to get the channel going. Trying to reach 500. And a lot of people have been sending me a lot of comments about what's going on. I rarely get a negative comment, and I thank God for that. But when I put this content out, I put it out not because I hate people, I'm not racist or anything like that. It's because when something is unsustainable, when something starts affecting the people in my country, I have to push back. Because if you can come to this country and bitch and moan about what's going on in your country, and you're telling me and my people that we need to cater to you, no, I push back. So if I offend anybody, that's on you, not on me. Okay? So with that being said, also if you'd like to help the channel out, donate to the channel, in the description I have my Cash App and my PayPal. Pass the channel around. Okay, I'm also on Rumble. I'm trying to get to 500 and take it from there, basically. Okay, so right now it's hashtag 500, me trying to reach 500. And Chicago, New York, one more time, man, vote red. Okay, and not Rhino Republican. Get some good Republicans in there to help you out, because they will. So remember, stay vigilant, keep praying, and keep praying for each other. Peace.